So as we get closer and closer to October 8th, which is both the Switch OLED launch day and Metroid Dread release day, we are seeing more and more promotional material around Metroid Dread's push, and we now have a brand new gaming controller and gaming case that I want to share with you guys today. Then we also have to cover the brand new Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl trailers that dropped, as well as Legends Arceus, and wow, do they look amazing. And the big talking point for today is, why is Metroid Prime Remake in the headlines in the news? And I want to share with you guys where all these rumors, leaks are stemming from, and whether or not we can expect a Metroid Prime Remake as soon as next year in 2022. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below. Hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. As I mentioned, guys, we're covering a few different stories today. The first of which I want to start off with is an update around Metroid Dread and some extra promotional material that you may find on the shelf when you go in to pick up this game on October 8th, because I'm sure all of you here on the channel are planning to purchase it like I am, and hopefully we can talk about it a lot in the comments, because I am confident that this is going to be one of the greatest games of the year, if not the game of the year. But of course, there's some, very good contenders up against it, but I do think that, at least for me, this will be personally my game of the year in 2021. Now, with all that said, we have a brand new controller, and we also have a brand new Nintendo Switch carrying case that is set to launch alongside of Metroid Dread on October 8th, and the controller is made by Power A and retails for $27.99. You guys have probably seen a lot of different promotional controllers, as Power A does like to, pick a series like Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong even, and make custom themed controllers around them. And so we have one for Metroid Dread at launch. So if you guys need a wired controller, which is one thing, it's a little bit lowered cost, but it is a wired controller. But if you need one that kind of has that pro layout to play Metroid Dread, this might be one worth looking into when you're in store on October 8th. Now, we also have the more enticing one for me, because I have plenty of Nintendo Switch controllers, and I actually might play through Metroid Dread with my 8-bito SNES controller that I love playing with, because it has 2 analog sticks, but it's a wireless SNES controller, and I'm like super in love with that controller. So I may do that, because I like to play through a lot of the retro style titles or anything 2D with that controller. But we do have what I probably will be picking up, which is the Metroid Dread carrying case, and it only retails for $12.99, and it's just a really nice thing. Like, I'm gonna need a different case for this Switch OLED that I'm planning to play way more in handheld now that we're getting a major display upgrade. So I may end up picking up this $12.99 case if I can find one, providing there's enough stock. And then the last thing I want to update you guys around on Metroid Dread today is we now have our first look inside of the actual box itself, the retail case that you will buy if you buy the physical edition of this game, which I'm definitely picking up the collector's edition day one. And I don't know if that's going to come with the same Switch case just inside of the box. I would imagine it is. But anyway, with this inside of the case look, it's just a quick glimpse of, like a wireframe looking Samus, but it's just, all adds to the hype that we're right around the corner from this, as we are now getting all of the promotional material out there, and we are starting to see exactly how this game is going to launch. And I love to see Nintendo's continued media marketing push around Metroid Dread, and I'm confident that this will be the best-selling Metroid in the series so far. But let me know in the comments down below what your guys' game plan is around Metroid Dread. Are you planning on picking it up right at release? Are you going to wait for reviews and then maybe pick it up later? I would love to get a back and forth conversation started with you guys around Metroid Dread in the comments down below. Now, from there, we got some major updates when it comes to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, as well as Legends Arceus, as the Pokemon Company just decided to go ahead and tweet out brand new trailers for these games. And we are getting closer and closer to their launch, as Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are actually set to launch on November 19th, which we will probably blink and that'll be here. And we got some good new looks at gameplay and different kind of mechanics. The one thing that stuck out to me from the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl trailer is like that little Game Boy looking screen that pops up when you want to use your hidden moves. And I do think that this is going to be a game that I will thoroughly enjoy, as I did not finish Diamond. I owned it back on the DS, but if you guys know me and you've been on the channel for a while, you'll probably know that I like the big screen experience whenever possible, and I had a really hard time making it through a lot of the handheld classic games on the DS line specifically, because if you go back before that, I was able to play just about any major Game Boy or Game Boy Advance game on my Game Boy player that I own on the GameCube, and that means I could play it through the TV, which is how I experienced most of those handheld titles, because I like to have a big screen in front of my face when I'm playing the games. It's just how I am. But that's neither here nor there. I am just excited to be able to play through these remastered versions of these classic titles. I will probably just get Diamond myself. I don't think I'll get the double pack, as I got the double pack for Sword and Shield and I only ever completed Sword. I never went back and played through Shield. So I think I'm going to save myself the money this time around, even though I would like to have it for a collection pack. But I would love to hear from you guys which version, if any, you're planning on getting of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And also let me know like your nostalgia for those games, because I know these are some fan favorites, and you know, why are they some of your favorite Pokemon games? How would you rank them amongst the rest of the series? So please share all your thoughts on those two titles in the comments down below. And then the really hype game that, you know, when it comes to Pokemon games that are around the corner for me is Legends Arceus, just simply for the fact that this is a truly a attempt at creating what is the Breath of the Wild effect, I guess you could call it, on a Pokemon mainline game. And while we don't know exactly if Game Freak will stick to this formula going forward, it is definitely them going as far outside of the box as we have ever seen them do. As you know, they actually pushed off the remakes of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl to another studio, and Game Freak themselves are taking on this Legends Arceus project, and it looks like they are, you know, tackling all the big things that fans have been asking for a very long time, such as wild Pokemon encounters with battles, dodge rolling mechanics, and just all of this open world setting type of stuff. The travel on top of giant Pokemon looks awesome. Like everything that you look at in this trailer seems incredible, and there's a real sense of threat and urgency around even your character being able to be attacked directly by Pokemon. And I just can't wait to dive into this game. I do have one small dilemma, because it literally comes out on January 28th, which is like a week before Elden Ring launches, and that is going to be a game that I will know life until I completely complete it. Because if you guys don't know, I'm a huge Dark Souls fan, and that is the evolution of what the Dark Souls series is. But regardless, I'm still picking up Legends Arceus on day one, and I will definitely be playing through it as soon as I can get done with Elden Ring, which hopefully does happen within 1 week. But I'm a completionist when it comes to those type of games, so we'll see if I end up getting the Platinum Trophy and then starting Legends Arceus, or if I'm just going to dive in after, you know, I kind of beat the main story of Elden Ring. But that all remains to be seen. But I'm pumped for these Pokemon games and really excited for them to be around the corner as we get closer to the end of this year and into 2022. And the main story I want to share with you guys today is, why is Metroid Prime Remake all of a sudden in the gaming news headlines, and where did this all stem from? Because if you guys have seen previous videos on the channel, I myself was predicting that we will probably get a Prime Trilogy HD collection pack released on the Nintendo Switch at some point, as that's just what would make the most sense, considering that we saw Prime Trilogy originally come out on the Wii back in 2009. And before we get a huge game and a huge AAA release like Metroid Prime 4, I'm certain that Nintendo will want to expose the fans to the previous installments in that series, so we can be caught up to speed with the story elements and everything that's going on. And you could argue that, you know, they don't have to do that, because they definitely didn't add Metroid Fusion and Samus Returns as playable Game Boy titles that we could, you know, play on Nintendo Switch Online before Metroid Dread has released. But, you know, I do think that as we get closer to the release of Metroid Prime 4, that they are going to continue to prop up Metroid as one of their mainline series now. And I think that they will want to have Samus have a major spotlight as we go forward into this release. And these rumors and leaks could also suggest that we're waiting a little bit longer than maybe we're even expecting for Metroid Prime 4. So to start off the conversation, I want to hop over to VGC, where they do have a nice article typed up about where these rumors originated from and how they kind of contradict previous rumors that we've heard that Metroid Prime Trilogy HD would eventually be coming to the Nintendo Switch. So let's start off by reading the article so we're all on the same page with the information we have. Nintendo could re-release Metroid Prime 1 for Switch without Trilogy games, it's claimed. It was previously reported that a Switch Prime Trilogy remaster was complete. A Nintendo insider has claimed that the company is working on a re-release of Metroid Prime for Switch, separate from any potential Trilogy plans. Emily Rogers, an industry insider with a long track record of accurate Nintendo information, stated on Twitter Wednesday, "Last I heard, Nintendo was very busy working on Metroid Prime 1 to celebrate the game's 20th anniversary in 2022. I'm not sure if we're getting a trilogy or just a re-release of the first game. I'm leaning towards the latter, but I hope we get the former." Rogers' claim is seemingly at odds with regular reported claims that Nintendo has prepared a Metroid Prime Trilogy HD for the Switch. VentureBeat journalist Jeff Grubb said in July that the Metroid Prime Trilogy remaster for the Nintendo Switch has already finished development and is awaiting release. Grubb said Nintendo was holding off the release of the announcement partly due to the restricted resources during the pandemic and possibly to align it more closely with the release of Metroid Prime 4. Now from there, I want to quickly hop over to Reset Era, where there was some discussion around this from Nate Drake, or Nate the Hate on YouTube, who has obviously also had a great track record most recently with actually calling out the fact that we would for sure be getting N64 games added to Nintendo Switch Online as part of a higher pricing tier before its official announcement at the Nintendo Direct in September. So I do want to quickly read through his comments on the matter, because he seems to be in a similar mindset as Emily Rogers, that these will at least be standalone releases and not just a simple Prime Trilogy HD port. So referencing the Emily Rogers statement, there was a user that said, this is interesting, would match up with what Nate Drake said about the scope of the project changing. If they do this, then I'd expect something closer to big remasters of each titles that are specifically made for Switch with new textures and visual effects rather than an HD port of the Wii trilogy. Nate then replies, MP1 is the only one I'm aware of getting this treatment, but obviously they may be planning to do the same for each over a long stretch of time. We'll find out if the latter is planned, but in the meantime, Prime 1 is set for Switch in 2022. He then replies to another comment by saying, Prime 1 is the only one that I have knowledge of. MP2 and 3 may be getting remasters and simply not releasing in a package alongside of Prime 1. There's a good chance my info is simply incorrect on this project. The key takeaway is that Prime, be it one or all three as individual releases, is looking to 2022. He then went back at a later date to actually update the post and say the following. For extra clarity, since I've been given newer info since the post, it does appear that 2 and 3 will come to Switch. However, it won't be in a package trilogy. They will be 3 standalone releases. I do not know how the release schedule will be handled. Of all 3, Prime 1 sounds the most ambitious. So there's obviously a ton of stuff to unpack here with all this new information around the fact that maybe Prime Trilogy HD is not what we should be setting our expectations for on the Switch, but actually standalone releases of all 3 games. And if you ask me, I am perfectly fine with that, especially if they put some extra love and care into Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3. I already think those games look fantastic. If you emulate them and up-res the textures and you actually just do some real small tweaks yourself, they literally look like they could be current gen console projects. And you know, Metroid Prime was just one of those series that was just way ahead of its time, especially when it came to the overall graphical quality and the environments that they created. And you know, you add in some nice lighting effects and some different reflections and things, and it would look incredible. There's even a fan-made Unreal 4 engine version of Metroid Prime with just like a small section playable, but it looks so cool. And I don't even think we're going to get anything near how good that looks running on the Switch, because you know, unless it's a cloud port, which Nintendo will not do, I don't think the Switch is actually capable of running a game that looks quite that nice as far as what this guy's achieved in Unreal Engine 4, probably on a PC, obviously. So you know, that all that we're gonna have to wait and see on what the actual plan is with this. But you do have to have the conversation that Metroid Prime 1 is actually going to have its 20th year anniversary, which immediately makes me feel old because that's literally my favorite Metroid game of all time, and I can't believe that it's turning 20 next year, but it is. And so with that, it could be a nice thing for Nintendo to line up a total remake rather than just a, you know, HD up-res port of the title, and you know, separate it from the trilogy. Because if Nintendo really is doing what I think they're doing with Metroid and truly trying to elevate it to the level of Zelda and Mario as far as a household IP name for them, they may want to give us individual releases spread out of these 3 titles and sell them at full price individually again. And you know, while you could say that's a greedy move, if they put the work into the titles to actually truly do a remake and not just a simple port, I am down to pay it, because all of those games are lengthy. They all have excellent story and single player campaigns. So I mean, we could see them do a lot with these titles. And you know, this also may suggest that we are actually quite a bit further out from the release of Metroid Prime 4 than maybe we would like to think, as a lot of fans, including myself, are hoping for some kind of trailer or new information on that game, maybe even a release window in 2022. And while that definitely could still happen, if these Metroid Prime 1 through 3 games are really individual releases, we will probably see them spaced out, you know, 6 months or more apart, which means we might be looking at an end of 2023 or even into early 2024 type window for Metroid Prime 4, which seems way too long for me to wait. But you know what? I trust Retro Studios and what they're doing with that game. And so take as much time as you need. And if you can keep us tied over in the meantime, playing through those Prime 1 through 3 classics, and they're all individually ported, I am happy to pay that. But I really want to hear from you guys on this topic, because obviously, you know, this is all information that's floating around out there. Jeff Grubb did say before that we were getting the Prime Trilogy HD port. This could easily be something that, you know, is kind of just lost through translation or different contacts are saying they're working on these games, and nobody really knows how Nintendo's going to end up packaging them together at the end of the day. So obviously there's a lot of debate and speculation to be had around here. So I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below what you think about Metroid Prime 1 potentially getting its own standalone remake, and then do you think that we're going to get the same thing for 2 and 3, or do you think 2 and 3 will somehow just be HD ports and 1 will be the only one that gets a remake? Because it's a really interesting direction for Nintendo to go if they do that. So let me know of your thoughts on everything we talked about today, guys. I would love to hear if you're excited for these Pokemon games that are around the corner. Definitely share with me if you're planning on getting Dread on October 8th, as that's just literally going to be here before we know it. And then also the big thing I want to hear from you guys on is, what do you think Nintendo is really planning with this whole Metroid Prime trilogy discussion? And are they going to come in a trilogy HD up-res pack as a single release, or do you think that we will truly get Prime 1 through 3 individually ported to the Switch? So I do look forward to hearing from you guys in the comments down below, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.